When it comes to indecision, it's important to make a distinction between immediate decisions you have to make in the moment, like the bus is coming towards you and you have to decide, should you step left, should you step right? You cannot have indecision. Okay, that's really going to be bad for you, right? But there's also decisions that maybe you can take a minute or two or five or a day or a week, so they're a little bit more intermediate and long term. You can think about it versus just react. And if you freeze under pressure, it's hard for me to say don't freeze and you'll stop freezing, right? It doesn't work like that. You'll still freeze. That's your nature. So it's easier to discuss what to do in case you have a little bit of time. So let's start with that. If you have a little bit of time to make a decision, like you have to make a business decision or you have to make a decision of what to eat for dinner, but it's still breakfast, you have a little bit of time. What you don't want to do is make a in the moment impulsive decision, because it's a gut reaction and it has a lot of value, but you want to, of course, the impulsive decisions come from your amygdala, the quick response, but you want to use your prefrontal cortex to think about it and reason and apply logic. Naturally, when you have emotional gut reaction and then you apply logic over it, it's far stronger. So one of the tools to apply logic in a very simple way that's just so easy is a list of pros and cons. Stop yourself from making the decision, which could be impulsive, could be irrational, and make your decision rational by creating a pro and con list. Very easy. Everybody's probably done that at some point. No brainer. Now, if you want to go a little further, you look at your goal setting and you think about what decision will align with my goals. You've outlined your goals. This is the most important thing for me. Which decision, A or B or C, will help me get to my goals? And that's the one you choose. If your goal is health, you choose a healthy option for dinner. Don't make a compulsive decision to eat sweets or pizza, but maybe a salad. Okay? And if once you think about it, you'll realize that it's more valuable because your long-term goal is the health. So you want the salad, even though it may not taste as good as a sweet. It's better for you and it will be better. So you'll kind of mentally have time to prepare yourself and you'll be fine getting the salad, as opposed to if you have to make the decision in the moment. If you're a little hungry, you might opt for the sweet. And so preparing yourself that way and thinking about your greater goals and values will actually help you form your right decision. Also, of course, you can use tools like the Eisenhower matrix or the Stephen Covey matrix to inform, like, is this high priority? Is it important but necessary to finish now? Or is it important but you can do it later? So you can use that tool as well to map out and sketch out how you should decide. So you have a lot of tools, planning tools at your disposal. If you have a few minutes to an hour or two longer, you can use those tools. But also, you want to dwell. Dwelling is the opposite of using those tools. Those tools are kind of cerebral, right? You write things down on a piece of paper and you're in that focus. But the dwelling is maybe you'll go for a walk, 30-minute walk in a park, somewhere quiet. Don't bring your phone or put your phone on silent. Just don't check it. Don't put your headphones on. And you just let your mind rumble. Just let your mind go free, and your mind will maybe think about something else, and then something else, and then something else. And then because this decision is looming for you, it's important, your mind will kind of hit on that decision as well, and it will be kind of free. You'll have greater, more creative ideas for how to approach that solution. You see, so now we're applying creativity and allowing ourselves to think outside the box in addition to using the logical tools. And that will make your decision so strong, right? You make your pros and cons, list all that, but don't only rely on it. Use creativity. And then, creativity, I mean when you go for a walk, when you let your mind just freely roam. And then, if the decision is important, you get feedback on your ideas. Maybe you have a hunch for which decisions to go with, Maybe you had 10 options before, but you narrowed it down to 3, but it's still hard to decide between the 3. Then you go and get respected opinions of experts, of family members, friends, somebody that you respect, and usually they're right. Get an opinion. Then, of course, think about, is a certain option easy to try? If you try it and you decide, okay, after trial and error in the real world, it's not working out, you can revert. If you cannot revert, obviously you think longer. If you can revert, you want to try these in the real world, in practice. Actually try it, because over planning becomes procrastination. And we don't want procrastination. That's very bad, right? So planning is sometimes an excuse, a fancy, beautiful sounding excuse. I'm planning. But if you're over planning, that's procrastination. The right amount of planning is fantastic. Over planning, not so good. So these are the tools in essentially almost that order. For different scenarios, you might interchange that order. Let's say you're not an expert at all, and it's going to be hard for you to create a pros and cons list. You first consult experts. But if you have some expertise and most of the decision-making process is within your hands, it's completely viable to use these tools. To recap, a pros and cons list, you may use the Eisenhower box or the Stephen R. Covey matrix to make a decision. Then you want to think about what aligns with your great goals for your life and for your work. Then go and think creatively, freely, in an unencumbered kind of a way. And then get feedback. Now, very importantly, all this is a lot. So one thing that's going to really help is you give yourself a deadline by which to definitely make a decision. That's going to solve your indecision, or at least really, really, really get close to it. Of course, you can cheat yourself, but if you have a deadline and you know, before I go to sleep or by Sunday night or whatever, I'm deciding, and these are my options, it's going to add urgency and it's going to give you extra focus. So whenever you do all that work, getting the feedback, thinking and going for a walk, you're going to be a little more focused on that problem. And that deadline will help you in actually 2 ways. By being a deadline, yes, one, but actually by getting you to focus a little more prior to that and giving it a little more attention, and with that making your decision more accurate. But also, here we're talking about indecision, you're going to fight indecision. So that's going to solve a lot of your indecision.